Whoa, Ross Coulthart has been told that the aliens or the beings or whatever you want to call them are future humans. This is amazing. I love Ross Coulthart. He is one, hard for me to say his name, but I love that guy. He is one of the people that has been really making the rounds and making the topic of UFOs and U.A.P. mainstream. And he's extremely credible. He's a great journalist. And he has a really good access to information the rest of us don't have. And he shares what he can with us. And I really appreciate and really value that. So this is a compendium of a few comments that he has made recently, and we'll go through them, finishing with the part about the future humans. And then I have some additional material to share with you about that. Before I get any further, this is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of future videos. Share this video when it drops on social media and join me there. That'd be awesome. Please comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this. If you wanted to support the channel beyond just hitting like, which is very appreciated, you can become a channel member. See the first line in the description below. Doing that allows me to spend more time on Cosmic Road to make these videos as good as I can make them. You can also simply leave a tip in the tip jar with the super thanks feature below. Or if you wanted to, go and have some fun, buy one of my books. I'm a novelist. I write science fiction, fantasy, horror, and steampunk, sometimes all together. So if you wanted to, go on to Amazon and look for Jack Connor with an ER. That's me. It's one of my books, The Atomic Sea. Okay, moving on with the story. The first comment we're going to go through is Ross's comment. I've been told by 2 U.S. intelligence sources that the Russians have definitely retrieved a craft and that they are doing some re-engineering of it in a facility somewhere in the Ural Mountains. That is really interesting. I guess it shouldn't be a surprise. We know that other countries, if they have the capability to do stuff with the craft, are obviously going to do what they can to reverse engineer this stuff. So that's not a surprise, but it is really juicy. I guess you could say the race is on. There was a space race long ago. Well, this is a new space race. Who can reverse engineer this stuff faster? So, very important, really. However, if the breakaway civilization does exist, the breakaway civilization, a term coined by Richard Dolan, if that exists, then all bets are off, and we've had this stuff for a long time. We being the U.S., apparently in a consortium or a coalition with some other countries. So anyway, moving on to his second comment. The UFO phenomenon may indeed be a co-host of our planet. A co-host of our planet. It may be something that lives here with us, been here for millennia, and we haven't even been aware of it, and we're only now starting to detect it on our highly sophisticated sensor systems. Whoa, that's an amazing comment, and it goes very well with the ultra-terrestrial hypothesis. Some people use that in different ways as a catch-all word, just meaning the beings, whatever they are, and including all of them. But some people specifically use the word ultra-terrestrial to refer to beings that have always been here and always coexisted with us. We're just not generally aware of them. So Ross Coulthart says that may indeed be possible. He calls them co-hosts of our planet. So very interesting, but he uses the word may, so nothing definite there. But the next line, the next comment, there is something definite. He says, there is a cadre of senior military officers who are deeply religious and who are offended by the demonic nature that they perceive the UFO phenomenon to be. Which is very unfortunate, and we've heard that, corroborated by Lou Elizondo, among others. Lou, in particular, had a hard time with some senior Pentagon guys who, as Ross says, sees the phenomenon as demonic, and that is truly too bad. Now, to me, the nuts and bolts phenomenon is all mixed up with the metaphysical part of the phenomenon. They are all one or at least different pieces of one overall puzzle. It's important to keep in mind that 1/3 of all alien abductees are near-death experiencers. People who have died, been to the other side, and come back. 1/3 of all alien abductees are composed of that demographic. So why that is, I have no idea. Is it because they have increased spiritual abilities or connection to source? Who knows? Not me, anyway. If you know, please let me know. But it's all there is a huge spiritual or consciousness or metaphysical component to the phenomenon. So if there is a negative element of that, could you call that demonic? If it's a spiritual negative entity, well, maybe. I mean, I guess there's some wiggle room there. But the overtones of that are very black and white. And to paint the whole thing as black just because there's some negative, wonky stuff going on, it's really unfortunate that people see it, that some people in power see it that way. But that is just a something we're going to have to overcome. And hopefully, if people can start shedding a light on some of the more positive experiences, Preston Dennett talks about that a lot, then we can slowly erode that bias. These people that think that way, surely the briefings they've been getting on it are from the Skinwalker Ranch variety. That information comes from Bass and Allsap and ATIP. So it's understandable that they see it as a negative thing because most of those interactions are negative. Anyway, moving on, he says, I've been told that if you look at the megalithic ruins around this planet, some of these ruins indubitably have to be the ruins of previous civilizations. They cannot plausibly be explained as human ruins. Always a good day when you can use the word indubitably, if I can say it right. But yeah, so that's an intriguing idea that some of these ancient ruins could be built by non-humans. Obviously, the first ones that comes to mind is the pyramids, right? Could that have been built by non-humans? Well, I've talked about that several times in the past, and there's different versions of that story. Some versions would have it that, yes, indeed, aliens played, or the beings, whatever they are, ultra-terrestrials, whatever they are, played a big part in the construction of the pyramids. Others say that it was actually Atlantis or the survivors of Atlantis or a culture that was inspired by Atlantis or touched by Atlantis in some way. So, but yeah, no, I totally think beings have been here for a long time, and I'm sure they did build stuff or cause stuff to be built or inspire stuff to be built. So yeah, absolutely. But I don't know. I don't know which particular ones, other than possibly the pyramids. I mean, I don't see them carving the Easter Island statues, but could they have inspired the construction, or could some culture touched by them have done that? Sure, absolutely. And this is, okay, last comment. Then I have a little additional material to go through. He says, I am being told this UFO phenomenon is future humans. I'm being told that what we're looking at is an effort by some future civilization to stop a catastrophe. There is a fear that making this public will change the timeline. Intriguing. Now, this is something that we have heard a lot over in my research. I see this referenced a lot, this idea that the aliens are people, or the beings, rather, are us from the future. And the book The Voyagers by Ashiana Dean, who has this much bigger picture view on things, I believe her take on it, or what she had learned from her experiences, was that they were beings from an alternate timeline, an alternate reality, and that they were either us or related to us in some way in a future timeline in a different reality, and that they have come here to repair themselves. So, but there are different versions of that story. In fact, there are several different versions of that story that, closely align to that, but the details are significantly different. So, for example, and here's the additional material. Let me take you over here to Twitter, where there is a post. Somebody asks, are there any hints in the U.A.P. literature that there is evidence that the ultra-terrestrial scenario outlined above may have some validity? Author Nick Redfern, in his book The NASA Conspiracies, asserts that there is. His interview of an ex-NASA Gemini contractor led to the claim that there was evidence of a small band of individuals who were not aliens from some distant star system at all, but supposedly represented the last vestiges of a very ancient terrestrial. I got to get my tongue sorted out here, sorry. The last vestiges of a very ancient terrestrial race of beings that thousands of years ago had an advanced and isolated civilization that was responsible for the legends of Atlantis in similar stories, but who were forced by circumstances to retreat into remote sequestered locales for survival. Okay, and here is a quote from the actual book. Callahan replied that NASA had secured hard evidence of the existence of these beings and had been able to pretty much confirm their point of origin right here rather than from way out there. In 1968, when two of Gavin's people had been captured following the crash of one of their craft, which proved to be a strange dirigible type craft in the wilds of the New Mexico desert. Silent for months, the long-haired pair, are these Nordics? I don't know. After being subjected to what Callahan enigmatically described as certain tactics that needed to be done to get the job done, the dark truth finally came tumbling out. Our presumed extraterrestrials were nothing of the sort. Rather, they had been here all along, trying to find a way to take back the world that had once been theirs, and extinguish their most hated foe, us, once and for all in the process. The problem was that their species really was, by now, Callahan explained, very impoverished and on a definite wane from an evolutionary perspective. Genetic problems and a general ill health had forced this human-like race to try and interbreed with us as a means to try and improve their stock and save them from the icy clutches of extinction. And as there appeared to be an ancient lineage, my tongue is still messed up, that suggested we share a common point of origin, the crossbreeding was actually working, much to the chagrin of NASA. But to ensure they remain free of detection, the beings constructed false stories that they were from distant star systems. The U.S. government, Callahan said, was mightily concerned about the situation, and the only thing of any real significance in our favor was that although the beings still possessed elements of their original, highly advanced technologies, they were certainly not on a scale that would allow them to go to war with us en masse. So there you go. There is another very similar version. You had this dying race that is coming to us to interbreed with us to save themselves, but they are not a threat in mass. So, and that is only two versions. There are many different. Well, I want to say there's at least half a dozen versions that I've heard of that same story. So, what is true and what is not? If there are so many very similar stories, are they all false narratives? Are some false narratives to conceal the true narrative? Are they, as the saying goes, making us argue over lies to conceal the truth, which is something completely different? That's what I suspect. But if that is the case, then these narratives or this situation has to have been orchestrated by the beings. This is too vast, too wide, too many people having encounters that have these reports for it to be any other way, to my mind. If you have a different theory, please let me know in the comments below. Anyway, I just thought I would share this with you. I do feel like we are being manipulated and lied to by someone about something for some purpose. I don't know what that is, but if you do, please let me know in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Please smash the subscribe button and hit the bell so you don't miss a single video. Please join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. And please, if you enjoy these videos, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel member. See the first line in the description below, and there's 2 tiers of membership to receive exclusive access in videos. Until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road.